One of the most common methods of an online scam is to try to offer or sell something that's in very high demand that can't be found elsewhere. Right now, there's a shortage and a run on the new PS5 gaming system. And because of that, there's scammers that put ads and use social media to offer perceived PS5 devices for sale when really they don't exist. And what they do is they say, we have this item, send us some money, and we'll get you one where you can't find one somewhere else. Sometimes you'll get nothing in the mail. Sometimes you'll get a box with a brick in the mail. As you've seen from this article, it talks about people are charging $1,000 for these items, and sometimes you will never get anything. In worst cases, these turn into bigger scams and even losing the money. As you can see from what you see on the screen, and one of our clients offered this information to help potential victims from avoiding the plight that he ran into. In addition to sending the initial money, the scammer then went back and said, well, we need another $200 for shipping, and he sent $200 more. And then a week later, there was some problem with customs, and there was a problem with, other fees. Sadly to say, all in all, this person sent many thousands of dollars to this scammer for various reasons until he realized that it was not legitimate. And you may be asking yourself, how could somebody send $7,000, $8,000 to a scammer for something that should only cost $600 or $700? Well, the psychology of these scammers is once you are in for that much money, you're afraid of losing what you already sent. So if you've already sent $2,000, asking for another $300 more, you're not really paying $300 for your PS5, you're paying $300 to somehow recover what you've already spent. And the scammers are very good at this psychology, and they have teams of people that work on that. So this is offered by our client with their permission to give potential victims of insight into what's going to happen later if you keep sending money to these scammers. And it doesn't have to be a PS5. Sometimes it's something as simple as a hard to find apartment in a certain area where there's housing shortages. Sometimes it is a Bitcoin scam where you're going to make money on Bitcoin. Sometimes it may be some other inventory closeout. It doesn't matter what the underlying reason for sending the money is. It's always going to be further ask for money after that. In addition, this particular client that you see on the screen, and his identity has been blurred out and anonymized to protect his privacy. But since this scam happened, he stopped sending money to the scammer months ago, and he's been getting emails from other scammers. Hey, by the way, I have this to offer you, or they're offering these investment schemes. What happens is, once you've been identified as a potential victim who's willing to send money to a scammer, they will sell your mailing list to other scammers that run other frauds because they figure, well, if you fell for one, don't fall for something else. So you're going to find that once you become a victim of a certain scam, you may get other emails or other things on your social media trying to ask you for money for other types of losses. So be aware that you don't want to be on that list. And if you have been a victim, make sure you lock down all your accounts. Make sure they don't have your private, your personal information. You don't send copies of driver's licenses, and maybe get some good legal advice about what you can do to protect your privacy and to make sure you don't run into any other potential liability. Scams online are highly prevalent because there's no cost for these scammers to send a million emails, to have somebody in some phone room somewhere in another country that gets paid 10 cents an hour to keep sending emails, reply to your messages. They'll never talk to you by phone. They'll never give you a good physical address because in most cases they're trying to remain anonymous, and that's where an investigation comes in to discover who's behind it. So be aware of these types of frauds. This is a good example of what it looks like from the outside that might give you some insight into how to avoid one if you come across it.